Your child turns 18 next month. You're sitting at your desk and your phone buzzes.
You open a text message from your ex that says, "Hey, our kid turns 18 next month. Need to figure out how we're splitting the tuition bill." If you're like a lot of separated parents in DC, you might assume your existing child support order will simply keep covering it. It won't. This explainer clarifies exactly whether DC law actually requires those payments and what you need to do before it's too late.
The very first issue we need to clear up is this. Does DC law require my ex to help pay for our kid's college, or does support just stop?
The legal reality here is pretty strict. In Washington, D.C., child support terminates automatically when a child turns 21. There is no statutory requirement for either parent to pay for college.
It's entirely voluntary. That's a huge contrast to states like New York, Illinois, and New Jersey, where a judge can actually mandate college contributions even without an agreement. But here in D.C., the courts simply don't have that statutory authority. Which brings up another scenario I hear about all the time. If we never put anything in writing, can a D.C. court still order my ex to contribute to tuition? The answer is firmly no. D.C. courts fundamentally lack the authority to force college contributions. It truly doesn't matter how much money your ex makes or if your child has a perfect GPA. Without a mutual agreement, a D.C. judge absolutely cannot create a college support obligation over a parent's objection.
So, what if you talked about it in the past? Parents often ask, "We have a handshake agreement about splitting costs. Is that actually enforceable?"
Unfortunately, no. It is not enforceable in DC family court. Informal understandings or verbal promises hold absolutely zero legal weight. If your ex walks back their promise right before tuition is due, a handshake won't protect you. For a post-secondary support agreement to actually be binding, you have to follow 3 precise procedural steps. First, it has to be a written contract. Second, it must be signed by both parents. And third, it only becomes enforceable once a DC Superior Court judge formally approves it and folds it into an official order.
Getting the wording right on that document is absolutely critical. If you want the exact clause language that keeps these agreements from falling apart later, plus the GPA requirements and financial aid provisions courts expect to see, the full article is linked in the first comment below.
Timing dictates everything here. Parents will often realize the clock is ticking and ask, "My child turns 21 next year. Is there still time to lock in college support, or have I already missed it?"
21 is a hard deadline. Once a child turns 21, DC courts will absolutely not create a retroactive college support obligation. You have to get that written, signed, and judge-approved agreement fully in place before their 21st birthday.
So, when is the best time to negotiate college costs? Before they become a fight?
The best move is acting proactively. The most strategic times to formalize these costs are during a prenuptial agreement or as part of a divorce settlement, long before acceptance letters start arriving. If you already have a support order, you can seek a modification before the child turns 18.
There's an important procedural hurdle there, though. Modifying an existing support order to add college provisions generally requires a material and substantial change in circumstances. DC courts treat this as roughly a 15% shift in the calculated support amount, like a major job loss or a massive increase in salary. Next, we have to look at outside funding. Will DCTAG or financial aid reduce what my ex owes in support? The DC Tuition Assistance Grant, or DCTAG, is a major factor. It covers up to $10,000 a year for DC residents at public colleges nationwide and up to $2,500 a year at private colleges in the DC area. Because that's a substantial amount of money, it can definitely factor into how parents structure a support agreement. But you have to explicitly write into your contract exactly how this specific aid alters your individual financial obligations, or you're just setting yourselves up for a dispute. To wrap this up, remember that DC will not force college support without a signed, court-approved agreement. Timing before the child's 21st birthday is exactly what makes it enforceable. For a complete breakdown of when to raise this during a prenup, a divorce settlement, or a modification, check out the full article linked in the first comment below. And please subscribe for more DC family law guidance so you don't have to search for this information case by case. I'll leave you to consider this. Have you reviewed your existing child support order to see exactly when your legal leverage expires?